Warning, this video will only be covering season 1 of the anime known as Chainsaw Man. If you're an anime-only fan, I would highly suggest you full screen the video right now to avoid potential spoilers down in the comment section. Thanks for watching.
今から浮きます。
This is Tatsuki Fujimoto, author of Chainsaw Man, trying to levitate. This guy is a genius. Chainsaw Man is one of the best works of fiction I've read in the last couple of years. The story from the very beginning piqued my interest, and throughout reading part 1, I was constantly surprised by how much I was engaging with the material. With over 18 million copies sold as of right now, it feels like Chainsaw Man fever is sweeping the entire world, especially now that the much anticipated anime adaptation by Studio MAPPA has concluded their first season. The anime, in my humble opinion, was a roaring success. The approach the studio took with the material was, for the most part, a near complete translation of the first 40-ish chapters of the manga. Sure, it's not perfect, there are some cuts and changes that I disagree with, but overall, the first season of the anime is a great start for newcomers and a fun time for jaded fans like me who know everything that is going to happen. And hold on. Look, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. The point of saying all this is that I really love Chainsaw Man. I love the story, I love the characters, I love the action, and the more people that watch or read Chainsaw Man, the better. I can't shut up about this series. Trust me, my brother knows all about it, and I think by taking a deeper dive into the first season of the anime, I can help get the word out there that yes, you should get into Chainsaw Man right now. Plus, I have reread this series way too many times and I need to finally just talk about it. So what is Chainsaw Man? Well, it's a bit hard to explain. If you were to ask someone what Chainsaw Man is about, you're likely going to get a wide spectrum of answers. Some might say it's a shonen anime fused with the principles of a Tarantino film. Some might also say it's a deep introspective look at the human experience through the lens of a lunatic author. Some also say it's about a guy fighting devils by turning into a chainsaw because he wants to cop a feel. It's remarkable how each of these explanations are completely on the mark, but also miss the point of Chainsaw Man entirely. Chainsaw Man, and the rest of Fujimoto's work in general, isn't supposed to be boxed into one thing. The plot shifts between different genres, the tone changes instantly between comedic and dramatic. A scene might be telling you one thing and the next might be the opposite of what came before. That randomness is what makes Chainsaw Man work. It's hard to constantly surprise the audience with an ongoing series, and while many have succeeded telling an unpredictable story, what makes Chainsaw Man different is how it doesn't really care about following the established rules of storytelling. It understands them, of course, but understanding them is important if you want to go about breaking them in the first place. This paradoxical nature can be picked up on pretty much from episode 1 onwards, and as the story goes on, it's how it keeps the audience engaged. The opening of the anime does a fantastic job conveying this sense of schizophrenic mayhem. All these movie references in the opening aren't just here because the author is a film buff, nor is it just because of the constant motif of movies throughout his work. We jump from Reservoir Dogs to Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Hell, there's even a Constantine reference. The opening has these callbacks to different genres of movies because the show is taking pieces from everything it can and twisting it to fit the setting and world of the show. The endings are also an extension of this idea. Usually a typical anime production will have one ending song for each 12 episodes of an anime, a core if you will. However, every episode of Chainsaw Man has its own song and animated endings. We've got a varied list of popular Japanese musicians too, from TK from Ling Toste Segura, known for Unravel, a techno uppy ending from Tobo that perfectly captures Power's personality, freaking Maximum the Hormone who worked on Death Note's second metal rock theme openings and endings. They used this song they made for Chainsaw Man multiple times and every time it just works for some reason. The wacky and wild nature of Chainsaw Man isn't only reflected in its story, MAPPA isn't treating Chainsaw Man as another typical anime show coming out this season, elevating the anime with these special quirks no other anime this season is doing. Also, it's about a guy who fights monsters with a chainsaw for a head and arms. That's a badass image in general, so if you're not on board, you might have a screw loose or something. Knowing the tone or style of Chainsaw Man is fine and all, but this means nothing if we don't take a look at how the characters operate in that role. Beyond the main character, obviously, how are they utilized in this story? Pretty fucking well! If you know anything about the previous work of Tatsuki Fujimoto, you should assume 3 things almost immediately about his characters. 1. They are way more complex than you would think. 2. You will grow to care for them. 3. They will suffer eternally or die shortly. It's kind of insane how everyone in Chainsaw Man is a fully realized, complex character, regardless of how long they're on screen for. Even if you don't remember their names off the top of your head, their designs and introductions convey a fleshed out life. I could write entire videos analyzing the psychology and behaviors of each of them, but because I don't want to keep writing the script for years, I want to highlight some of the introductions for the characters and how they connect with Denji's journey throughout the first season. On the surface, the scene where Denji kicks Aki in the nuts repeatedly is a hilarious, iconic moment to have in the first couple beats of your story, something to keep the audience entertained. When viewing the entire season though, Aki's nuts getting destroyed is the start of a wonderful written arc between the two and how their friendship grows over time. Various personality traits about both Aki and Denji are told to us in this scene. At first, Aki beating up Denji and telling him to quit trying to become a devil hunter comes off as brutish and uncaring, the typical archetype of a secondary protagonist. However, this also highlights his naivety. He thinks because he has more experience and understanding of what it takes to hunt devils for a living, he sees Denji as someone who is way over their heads and will probably get killed for being himself. He doesn't expect Denji to bounce back, nor does he expect he would resort to some brutal street brawl tactics as a counter. On the other side of the coin, the author cements Denji as the unpredictable, wild protagonist he is. So far, his characterization has been mostly akin to a child learning to ride a bike for the first time and immediately going Mach 10. His whole life up until now has flat out been the absolute worst. Pure garbage. So literally anything remotely positive or nice he latches onto. Also, like he says, he values the second life Pochita gave him and wants to do everything he can to have the best life possible, both for himself and Pochita. So him fighting back against Aki via his nutsack being destroyed is a statement to both Aki and the audience. Denji's going to try and live his best life. Have fun! This event also has a nice callback at the end of the season while also showcasing the progression of Aki and Denji's friendship. It's a nice cathartic moment after the pure insanity of the Katana Man arc and a great way to close out the first season. And then you remember you're watching Chainsaw Man and have panic attacks over how long until everyone else dies, and then you decide to read the manga and Power's first scene in the show tells you all you need to know about Power. She's brash, loud, demanding, demeaning, and well, it's a powerful entrance. At first, Denji questions why a fiend is working with them, but then quickly pushes that animosity away because he is a horny lad. When on patrol together, it is clear the two simply won't have a good working relationship, a stark contrast to the cold but calculated feelings Denji has of Aki. That's not to say she isn't smart or has bouts of intelligence, just from the outset, Denji and Power are on two completely opposite spectrums, despite sharing the same brain cell. Eventually though, Power and Denji find a common ground in loving pets. However, the two are still polar opposites, with Denji being a dog person and Power being a cat person. When she mentions the Bat Devil holding Meowie as a hostage, Denji really couldn't care less. However, when Power offers up the chance to grope her should he free him, Denji immediately goes into Devil Hunter mode. Trying to get along with Power on the ride over to the Bat Devil, Denji can't stop objectifying Power. He's in it for the chance to fulfill a childish but completely understandable dream. It doesn't see this partnership as anything more than transactional. On the flip side, Power is trying to lure Denji to the Bat Devil so she can offer him the free Meowie. For now, it looks like Power is a de facto bad guy and Denji got caught in her web. If the Bat Devil went through and actually ate him, Denji maybe would have died. When the Bat Devil ends up going back on his word and swallowing both Meowie and Power, Power's question to Denji before she gets eaten paints her in a new light, to Denji and the audience. Seeing how Power met Meowie, we see that behind the manic and wild front she puts up, she's actually a caring person. She has wants and needs that go beyond strength and killing devils. Denji sees this and relates to his own experience of almost losing Pochita. This newfound perspective Denji gains is the start of Power and Denji's relationship growing over the course of season 1 and lays the groundwork for the future of the series. At the end of the day, he's still in it for the tits, but like it's with a better understanding of who Power is, I think. I don't know, I may be off base here. Denji's like that sometimes. Denji idolizes Makima, almost a little too much. After a life where he had to sell his left testicle, his eye, and live in the worst kind of poverty imaginable in order to live, getting a second chance and immediately meeting someone who doesn't want to kill him or is ignored outright is a blessing to Denji. One of his biggest wishes was to get a hug from a hot girl, and now that he has a chance to live a normal life again, he's latching onto it like a dog. Being perfectly honest, I feel a little weird talking about Makima's character, as this is only the first season of the anime, and we still have a long way to go before things about her character really get into focus. Solely focusing on season 1, Makima is an enigma to both Denji and the audience. She's his perfect angel, a beautiful goddess who Denji's dreams and goals are hyper-fixed on. Denji doesn't really think logically when it comes to her, and as he spends more time with her, he starts to be even more infatuated. In reality, Makima is almost an elusive figure. On one hand, she's a boss who occasionally talks to her employees as if they're people. On the other hand, she explains how if Denji goes out of line, he could be put down as if he's a devil. Makima always feels like she, regardless of circumstance, is always one step ahead of everyone, including us. She knows things that no one else does. She's the most powerful person in the room, even when she's dead. It's such an interesting dynamic too. She's dangerous, but also fascinating. You don't know whether you're supposed to be enamored or trepidatious, whether she sees you or not. Seriously, she's almost always looking at the camera. Behind those colorful, swirly eyes is a fascinating force of nature, and I can't wait for all you anime-only to start getting the full picture. I promise you it's one of the greatest plots in modern manga. There's a lot more stuff I can dive into. Himeno's entire thing, the entirety of the Special Division 4 attack, Kobeni, how Katana Man and Chainsaw Man perfectly oppose each other, the Future Devil's Little Dance, Kobeni again. A lot of these characters are what make Chainsaw Man great. When you have a world as fucked up as Chainsaw Man, these characters are the only logical result. I grew to love every single one of them, and watching the anime only increased that love by 1,000. MAPPA is an interesting studio. Founded in June 2011, they have since risen in the anime space to become one of the biggest anime studios in the industry, working on numerous projects from Attack on Titan's final seasons Part 1, 2, and 3, to Jujutsu Kaisen, the new Yuri on Ice movie, Vinland Saga Season 2, and now Chainsaw Man. And also, apparently they're animating One Punch Man Season 3, Jesus Christ. Okay, so breaking news, turns out that last part was a lie. So, I don't know what else to do, so... here's this bird. Unfortunately, with this insane workload comes a huge amount of crunch and overwork, and the animators are already paid very little. I don't want to put a damper on things, but in order to dissect how MAPPA went about adapting Chainsaw Man, I have to talk about the unique situation the anime's production is in. Know that I am not condoning any of the shitty business practices the studio may or may not be doing. Usually when an anime adaptation of a manga series is being created, it's through a production committee. A production committee is made up of various different companies that invest in an IP, hold hands, and guarantee mutual destruction should the IP no longer be profitable. On paper, this makes sense. Everyone gets an equal share of the profit and losses made from advertising the IP, from merchandise to brand deals to sales and the eventual animated adaptation. However, the reality is that the anime studio barely gets any of the money, if at all, from this. The more companies involved with the committee, the less profit goes towards the studio, and that's even if they are even on the committee to begin with. Now, the reason why MAPPA's acquisition of Chainsaw Man is unique is because they went all in on the IP. There's no production committee. They still have to go to Shueisha for the rights, but MAPPA is 100% in control of everything involved with the anime production. MAPPA will rake in more of the profit made from the series, but also has to spend more since they've taken the reins, and will suffer immensely if, for whatever reason, Chainsaw Man doesn't make a profit overall. This is unheard of in the anime industry, and MAPPA diving headfirst, ride or die style can be felt throughout the presentation of the anime. The style of the anime blends the simple, almost sketch-like design of Fujimoto with a gritty cinematic style akin to a movie or prestigious television show. Don't get me wrong, Fujimoto also likes to draw some panels as if they were shot from a camera using a wide variety of lenses. The anime takes this approach and runs with it, from panning shots to wide lenses to flat-out whole-ass tracking shots during the action. This movie-like approach adds weight to the cinematography of the episodes. I was constantly impressed with how close the Chainsaw Man animation team stuck to certain manga panels while also adding this camera lens-like sheen. Quick side note, the music by Kensuke Ushio is flat out fantastic. It meshes perfectly well with the vibes of the show. I forgot he worked on the recent Devilman Crybaby anime, and in hindsight, it 100% makes sense he would be the one to work on this show. A perfect blend of instruments, digital and physical. Just to throw this out there because it's bound to be talked about if I don't bring it up, yes, MAPPA does also use CG doubles for some of their action scenes. Okay, maybe all their action scenes. It's kind of a mixed bag when they use it. While I can see why they decide to use it to put more effort on the other big parts of the action where it is traditionally sketched out and drawn, I won't lie, it does get upsetting at times when I immediately notice it. I understand that making an anime is hard enough already, and the fact that the CG models look this good is frankly a huge feat by MAPPA. I'm sure as they keep tweaking it for the future, it can only get more and more seamless and better. All in all, a little disappointing, but it could have been way worse. Fuck you, Tokyo Ghoul Re. I fucking just go read the manga. Guys, no, look, call it, sign up. Seriously, read the team behind the anime is giving Chainsaw Man everything they got, and I think it shows. Some of the anime original scenes do a great job at adding to the story without detracting or contradicting the original work. The team should be applauded for all their hard work put into making sure this adaptation was not only great, but also elevates the quality of the manga. In conclusion, the first season of Chainsaw Man is a really solid adaptation of that chunk of the manga, and I can't wait for season 2 to come out. If the team behind this season either continues or ups the quality from here, a lot of moments coming up will be fantastic animated. The story of Chainsaw Man is a brilliant work of art, and to see it be adapted with this much love and passion is exciting. That being said, if you're an anime-only person, I think you should read the manga at this point. If I'm being completely honest, this first chunk is nothing more than a small piece of the pie here. I don't think you'll fully understand how fantastic Chainsaw Man actually is until you experience the whole thing for yourself, and I don't want you to wait and then accidentally get spoiled by some trolls on the internet or down in the comments. I know for some this is asking a lot, but I just want you to have the best experience possible. The manga is well into part 2 by now, but if you don't want to read past part 1, chapter 97 is a perfect stopping point. Once again, Chainsaw Man is a masterpiece, and I'm glad the anime is living up to that quality. So yeah, Chainsaw Man Season 1 is great. Go read the manga, and if you don't like Chainsaw Man, read Shoujo X.